Hello everybody, Kevin Dennis with Gravitec Systems. We are live. Welcome to our Thursday afternoon session. For those of you who've been following us for the last couple of weeks, welcome back. If this is your first time clicking through, every Thursday for the next foreseeable future, next few weeks, we're going to have a live education session where we talk about some fall protection, rope access, or rescue topic. So please feel free to reach out to me. We can send you the link. You can send it throughout to everybody in your organization. During the pandemic, it's just a way for Gravitec to stay in contact with you and stay in contact with us. And we continue our education efforts on fall protection, rope access, and rescue. Last week, I had announced that we are going to deal with energy absorbers, do some drop tests, and blow up some equipment. I apologize, but our test lab is being used by a paying customer, which is a good thing, but that means that we cannot use it. So I'm changing up the topic a little bit today, and we're going to deal with rescue, and we're going to kind of do the pros and cons, or a head-to-head comparison, if you will, of two of the most common workplace rescue systems. I've got Chris McGuire, Colin Cooper's here. They're going to help us out in rescuing some of our mannequins. So if you guys want to get set, we will get underway. All right. Before I get into the topic too much, I want to frame in the scope of what we're talking about today. Once you hear the word rescue, a lot of times people's antennas go up and they get a little nervous about it. And rescue can be a very, very big topic. So what I want to talk about is what people refer to as industrial rescue, or workplace rescue, or PFAS rescue. Under the jurisdiction of OSHA, as well as any state OSHA plans, whenever an employee is in a fall arrest system, there is the potential that they could fall and be hanging in a harness, and they're incapable of rescuing themselves. They're hanging below the structure, they can't climb up, whatever the situation may be. That's the type of rescues that we're dealing with. Okay, excuse me. We are not dealing with fire departments, search and rescue teams, emergency response teams, paramedics. As in the workplace, we have a lot of other things going for us, okay? So to develop a prompt rescue plan for the workplace, it's always in combination with a fall protection program. So the person that's hanging there, they're in a harness. They're typically going to be connected with 5,000-pound equipment. Even if an energy absorber is deployed or a self-retracting lifeline has engaged, I still have an integral component of that system. And they have an anchor point. They're hanging from something. So the idea with workplace rescues is Gravitec Systems is a big component of getting specialized equipment, invest in that equipment so you can minimize the training and skill of that person. You have the luxury of pre-planning in the workplace. You're issuing equipment to people. You know where they're going to work. You probably selected an anchor for them or identified an anchor. There's a certain level of predictability to that fall. You can even probably predict where they're going to be hanging. So that's what OSHA and the regulators are looking for, is they say, this is a predictable event. You don't have to respond to it. You can plan for it and have a rescue plan, okay? So the scope of what we're dealing with today are workplace rescues, typically done by coworkers or non-professionals. And the intent is put the effort and technology into the equipment so you can minimize the amount of skill and training on behalf of the rescuer. So the two pieces or the two systems I'm going to talk about today are, number one, block and tackles, and number two, rope-based systems with descent control devices. So I'll first deal with block and tackles. Block and tackles, pulleys, 3-part, 4-part systems. They go by several different names. There's probably a dozen different variations of these block and tackles available in the marketplace. This one here is a Series 70. It's not very different from a 3M RPD, the rescue positioning device. Swiss roll. I think CMC has one called the CSR2, the MSA Surety Man. They all kind of follow the same theme. I have a 3-part or a 4-part pulley. I have my haul line, and there's either a speed brake in the top of the unit or maybe even a halyard with a hand descender to go on the line. And it's a pulley. So I pull on the rope to go up, I let go of the rope to go down, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So for rescues, I can do a couple of things with it. I can anchor this to the anchor that the person's hanging from or an adjacent anchor, and I can lower this down to the rescue subject. If they're conscious, they can connect into their harness. I pull on the line, I lift them up, disconnect their line, send them down to the ground. Or you can do what's called a suspended rescue. Is the rescuer is connected to the end of the pulley. They use the pulley to lower themselves down to the rescue subject, capture the rescue subject, pick them up, disconnect, and come down to the ground. And that's actually what we're going to demonstrate here. We've got Chris who's ready to go and do it. So if we want to pan over, Chris, go ahead. So this particular one, we're using the RPD. And again, there's several different products. And the main advantage to a pulley is its simplicity. Chris is operating with the haul line, his descent to the rescue subject. If he goes too far, since it is a pulley, he just merely pulls himself back up to the right spot. So they're very, very forgiving. He gets down to the right level, captures the rescue subject with a carabiner, and lifts himself up. And this rescue subject, he could be hanging from anything. It could be a self-retracting lifeline, could be a vertical lifeline and rope grab, could be a horizontal. The idea is he's suspended from one of these D-rings. So Chris comes down, captures it, disconnects, and now he can go down. We're kind of cheating here. The mannequin is 145 pounds. Mr. McGuire isn't much more than that. So we probably have, just under 300 pounds here on the line. But with a 3-part or a 4-part pulley, you find even if the rescue subject is 200, 250 pounds and the rescuer is 200 pounds, there's still enough mechanical advantage there for a person to lift them up. Good job, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I know there's a lot more to a rescue than the 4 steps that you saw here of access to the subject, anchoring, distances. But the physical parts of doing the rescue are just that. Personally, I'm a big fan of block and tackles for the main reason of what you saw there. There's 2 connections to do the rescue. Connect into the subject, disconnect them from their line. Very, very simple, certainly non-technical, and they're very, very forgiving. So the main advantage to these block and tackles is the simplicity. Okay? I've trained hundreds of people on how to do these rescues, and I bet you 5, 10 years later, there's still going to be people that remember how to operate these. Okay? All right. So simplicity is the main feature. Unfortunately, they do have some drawbacks. Number 1, length. If I have a 3-part pulley and I want to conduct the rescues from the ground, I need 400 feet of rope. If I have a 4-part pulley like the MSA system operated from the ground, I have 500 feet of rope. So you get a lot of rope really, really quickly with these. So you're typically not going to, rope management is a big deal, especially when you get into 100, 120, 130 feet worth of system. Okay? So they're big, they're bulky. Okay? Secondly is the length. Having a 3-part or a 4-part pulley with 100 feet of working length, it's quite prone to twists, and there's so much rope weight tensioning down on these pulleys that the friction, the pulley friction starts to get real funky in around that 100 feet, especially if it's a Series 70 or a rollgless that's got the clutching roller head on the top. Right around 100 feet, they kind of cease to function or they become very, very difficult. Okay. The other con, if you will, is their versatility. I can really go up and down. Block and tackles do not handle corners very well. So if you're on the roof of a nacelle or a wind turbine or rope access, edge of building type application, you really can't redirect a block and tackle pulley. I certainly can't do it very easily. So you're kind of limited to a vertical up-down only application. And lastly, it's price. If you were operating a 100-foot system, you're probably getting into these for $3,500, $4,000. So for many people, they're cost prohibitive. So I know that's not a very good sales pitch on block and tackles, because I gave you one pro, which is they're incredibly simple to use. And then I gave you 4 cons of length, rope management, cost, and they're quite limited in their application. But I can't sell you enough on how important simplicity is for workplace rescues. Gravitec Systems is a firm believer of minimize skill and put the effort into the technology of the equipment. Because if you ever have to rely on a rescue someday, it means somebody's fallen, anxiety is going to be high, adrenaline is going to be high. If you are expecting a coworker to do this workplace type rescue, there's a lot of value in keeping it simple. Okay? All right, so those kind of pros and cons of block and tackles. If you have an application where a block and tackle doesn't work, you need more length, you can't afford it, you need a more versatile system for rescues, you can go to what's called a rope system. This is the G4 kit. Again, there's dozens of variations of rope systems, but they all use a single rope, and they all kind of based around a descent control device. So a person uses rope friction rather than mechanical advantage to lower themselves or lower a rescue subject to the ground. So rope-based systems are friction-based rescue systems rather than mechanical advantages. All right. So automatically, the technical expertise goes up a little bit because the person has to learn how to rappel or operate a descent control device. And there's, several of them. There's the Petzl ID, there's the MSA Anthron, there's the ISC D2, D4. There's several friction devices that are kind of based around these rescue systems or available for use around rescue systems. They all work, okay? So please don't take my little plug in talking about this equipment today as one system works better than the other. It's all about the application. Gravitec's a big supporter of, if you are going to use a rope-based system, use a friction device that has automatic locks and panic features. So that means if somebody's rappelling down, if they let go of everything, the unit will lock. Or if they get out of control and they're into an overspeed situation, the unit should lock as well. So any system that uses the old figure eights, horny eights, ladder racks, fist descenders, I tell you in the workplace, those are kind of undesirable because they're all or nothing devices. The moment if somebody lets go of their brake hand, there's no safety locks. They could enter into a free spooling situation. So how this system works is very similar to the block and tackle. As the person descends to the rescue subject, you have a pick-off strap that captures into the rescue subject. And now your challenge is to lift that rescue subject a couple of inches. And most of them have, a little short haul system. Whether it's a Petzl Jag or ISC Hollerbiner, many people will make their own between a couple of double shift pulleys and a Prusik mining pulley with a Prusik. They have some kind of progress capture feature to the short haul system. But the idea is this can now connect onto my haul line. I connect that into my rescue subject, and that's what I use to transfer the weight from their fall arrest system onto my system. So I think Colin's ready to go. Let's take a look over there, and we'll see the same rescue using a rope-based system. Go ahead, Colin. So unlike the pulley, he's using a descent control device to gain access. This is a little more technical. Like I said, he has to learn how to rappel. If he goes too far, he doesn't have an easy way to go back. So with the block and tackle, at least, if Chris had gone too far, he merely just pulls the rope and changes direction. You can go up a rope with a descent control device. It's just a little more technical. You need a foot loop and a hand descender and a chest descender. So he engages into the rescue subject, connects into him with a pick-off strap, adds some tension to it, and that just captures him. Now he has to lift that person up to disengage whatever fall arrest system they're hanging from. Historically, a lot of the rescue techniques were to cut that person's line, And as a general statement, you want to avoid cutting. There's a lot of ropes. Adrenaline's high, sharp blades around tension ropes are usually a bad idea. However, most professional rescuers will carry some shears and knives for that worst case scenario. So here he uses his short haul, lifts him up enough to put slack in the rescue system, or sorry, lifts him up high enough to put slack in the fall arrest system, disconnects him from the fall arrest system, and now he can come down. So since it is a friction device, you gain more advantage in the down mode with a friction device than you do with a block and tackle. So again, you could have 400, 500, 600 pounds in here and still maintain control of the descent. Thanks, Colin. So rope-based systems, a lot of advantages to the rope-based system. Number one, length. Since it is a single rope, I can find these systems upwards of 300, 350 feet. You can find descent control devices that go more than 350 feet. The 350 foot limitation is usually just the size of the bag and the amount of rope that a single worker can carry. If part of your rescue planning is that the worker has to hump that rescue gear, climbing a wind turbine, climbing a tower, transmission tower, whatever the situation may be, water tank, you have to consider how much weight that one person can reasonably carry. So a 350 foot G4 system, I think, comes in at 36, 37 pounds by the time you dress it out with all the necessary parts and pieces. However, 350 feet, still 250 feet more than what the pulleys can do. Okay? So I get increased length. Second advantage is I can turn corners. Okay? Since it is a single rope, with the addition of an anchor strap and a pulley, I can redirect that rope around different things. Okay? They are incredibly versatile since it is a single rope and I don't have a 3-part or a 4-part line. Okay? So I can raise somebody, I can hook up a simple mechanical advantage with a Z-rig with the addition of a Gibbs or a Kroll. And I can even piggyback if I wanted to make a hauling system. I can do that with a single rope because I've got the ability to change direction of that rope. So other advantage, it's kind of the same advantage with the versatility, but it does a whole lot more things. I can evacuate with it, 1 or 2 people. I can work on the flat with it, and every slope in between 0 and 90 degrees, a rope descent rescue system can work. So whether it's natural slopes, incline slopes, roofing applications, or even vertical, rope systems can do that full range. So they're much more versatile. And third advantage is price. All of these components, as well as everybody's rescue systems, just some assembly of a descent control device, rope, connectors, anchor straps, pulleys, and ascenders. Those are common use everyday rescue pieces and rope access pieces. So the systems become a lot more affordable. I think a 350 foot rope system, you're into it probably for $1,800, $1,900, depending on how you want to dress it up. So they're, 40% of the cost of an engineered block and tackle system. The only disadvantage to these is the parts. There's a lot of components. Block and tackles, they go up, they go down. It's kind of the Neanderthal way of rescuing. A UGG pull rope go up, let go rope go down. They're pretty basic, which is its main advantage. So don't laugh at me too much for making fun of a block and tackle, but that's why I love them, because they are so simple. Since these rope-based systems can haul, drag, evacuate, descend, and it's got 15 different pieces to it, they're a little more technical. Okay? We're certainly not making our own hauling systems and tying our own knots, but somebody has to learn how to rappel and has to learn the 15 different rigging ways to use the system. So that's the main disadvantage, is your training goes up The opportunity for error goes up a hair, and you have to stay proficient with it. So Gravitec systems, after somebody's initial train, we strongly recommend running rescue drills every year, or even monthly, depending on your situation, just so people can remember how to put all the parts and pieces together. So now we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. It's not a race, but you can see the two guys, coming down at similar speeds, and just the differences using the two different rescue systems. Go ahead, fellas. So descending is very similar. One is on a pulley system, the other one is using friction. One system you have to come down a little lower to so you can capture them with the carabiner. And the rope-based system, there's a pick-off strap. You can get some rope-based systems that the short haul actually has the same strength and man rating as the pick-off strap. So you could actually eliminate the use of that pick-off strap by buying a different short haul system. So you can see the reduction of steps with the block and tackle. He really just comes down, captures, lifts up, disconnects. It's that, again, I can't tell you how great an advantage the simplicity of that is. So if you are doing rescues that you're less than 100 feet, it's vertical, it's up, down, and you got some budget, boy, again, I'm a big supporter of the block and tackle systems. Colin has conducted the exact same thing, just using the rope-based system. Again, there's just more parts, but they're much more versatile. Thanks, guys. Good job. So to kind of summarize these two, they both work. And even if you're using a rescue system that isn't a block and tackle or a rope-based system, but you're into automatic descent control systems like a D-rope or a rescue or a Red Pro, every single rescue system works. Okay? Gravitec systems would always try to promote to you to do a needs analysis, needs assessment, find out where the locations of the rescues are, what kind of distance, and don't discount or ignore the people doing the rescues. How often can they practice? How technical can that rescue be? Because it's always this balance. And in the workplace, we will find more often than not, you're further ahead to have specialized equipment with basic skills rather than basic equipment and specialized skills. Because in the workplace, you have the luxury of pre-planning. You know the equipment they're using, you can take advantage of the harness lanyards and anchors, excuse me, and it can be a planned event rather than a responded event. So, hopefully this kind of summarized it, or this head-to-head comparison answered some questions for you. If you have any questions, feel free to call me directly, 360-626-1123. Of course, you can email me, dennis@gravitec.com. If you all made it here, you probably made it through our website, so you can reach out to me through that location as well. Next week, I am on assignment, and we have an online qualified person class going on that's going to use up the studio and all of our online tech. So we are not going to have one of these sessions for Thursday, but I will see you the Thursday after that. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.